Thanks to somebody in my Discord server or something like that, I found a cool plugin called mathaudio microphone EQ. This right here. This is what it looks like. It's a little match EQ plugin of sorts. And the goal is to take two different microphone signals and make them the same. So for this, we're going to do my SC-V7, which is right here. And this is my Rode NT1, which I think sounds a lot better than the V7. And we're going to see if we can match them in a couple seconds. So to make this work, I have to pan both of these left and right. So now the NT1 is on the right and the V7 is on the left. And then if I start this and I do my talking and I do all my stuff and then I just say sibilants and I do all these words and I have all this low end and I keep talking and talking and talking and I go all to town and I just say all these words and it's so amazing, then it makes a spectrum here, as you can see. Now I can go ahead and cut this and I can pop it on my mic track. And in theory, it should take my V7 and make it sound like an NT1. So here is my Rode NT1. And here is my SC-V7. So what we're going to go ahead and do is grab a utility, flip the phase on this bad boy, and if we take the Rode NT1 and we put it right next to the V7 and we try to get everything to match up here, then we see that the phase is almost entirely flipped. It's almost entirely nulling out, which is pretty interesting. I like that a lot. It's really cool. It's really close. It's really close to nulling out. So that's pretty cool. I'm just going to talk into this because the plugin it's some sort of like demo trial thing if you don't buy it or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and do a sort of mic shootout. So this right here is microphone number 1. That's what you're hearing right now. And yeah, sounds good. Sounds solid. I enjoy it. You know, it's working. It's doing its job real well. And then this right here is microphone number 2, which you can hear is doing another really good job. You know, it's solid. I enjoy it. It's trying its best. You know, it's working. So not too long ago, I did a video where I EQ matched this Behringer XM8500 to my SC-V7. You know, that's this one right here. So the goal now is to EQ match the XM8500 to the V7. But instead, we're going to use this microphone EQ plugin instead of the way I did it by loosely holding it in front of a studio monitor. We're going to move this over to the right. We're going to move the XM8500 to the left. And this time, I believe, since I want this microphone to go to this, I need to flip this. So now we're in a point where they're pretty much the same level and I can be good to go and be happy and be solid and all this cool stuff can happen and I can have my amazing microphone sound and all that shit. It's great. So now we cut this over and we put it on this instead. So this is the SC-V7 and this is the XM8500, and let's see if they null out when I get to right there, right here. This is a point where they're pretty much the same. So yeah, it does a good job. So comparing it to the one that I made, it sounds, I wonder if we get him to... They sound almost identical. If not, mathaudio might be slightly better, which is interesting because it took me, what, 15 minutes to EQ match those, and this did it in 15 seconds. So number 2 is pretty solid there. That was really, really accurate. Maybe not 100%. Obviously, it's never going to be 100% because I'm sitting here talking, but I really want to see how well this works for guitar EQ matching. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to actually refer to the original thing I did before. And I remember I did a Randy Rhoads video. And so let's make a Randy Rhoads tone, but this time let's do it with this plugin. Mine sounds like this right now. And we're going to play the Crazy Train. Because remember, the last video I did was, you know, EQ matching Randy Rhoads. So let's see if we can copy it. Right? So it's made the thing. Let's copy this over and see just how close it got. Dang it, trial. That's pretty dead on, dude. I ain't gonna cap. So this right here might be the shittiest microphone that I own. This is a Behringer SL84C. It was about $10 on Amazon, brand new. Amazon Prime and all, $10. And oh, it's bad. And I have the XM8500 over here. This is the XM8500. You can hear this is unironically sounds better, right? That's crazy, isn't it? You'd think there's no microphone that the XM8500 sounds better than, but it's the fucking SL84C. This thing's trash. So what I'm going to do is EQ match the SL84C to the XM8500. Then I'm going to EQ match the XM8500 to the SEV7. Then I'm going to EQ match that to the NT1. And so at the end, we should have an SL84 whatever C piece of shit that sounds like the NT1. So hand this guy over and we will get math audio going. All right, so the levels on these are pretty much the same. And so we're going to talk and we're going to say words and we're going to say sentences and all that stuff. And then we're going to keep going and going and going. And I'm just going to go for all this time. And then I'm going to keep saying words with a lot of sibilants and like all that stuff. All right, so this is the XM8500 and this is the SL84C. So now if I do that and I try to null them out, yes, okay, much better. Okay, so now we're on the right track. So now let's take the SL84C, which now should sound like this is the XM8500. This is the SL84C. They should pretty much sound similar. So now I can take my Pro Q that EQ matches the XM8500 to the V7. So now this should be a V7. Let's test that out. All right, so this is the SEV7. And this is the Behringer SL84C that's been EQ matched to the XM8500, which has been EQ matched to the SV7. We will see if they can null out, or at least get somewhere around nulling out if we get the levels to be pretty much accurate, you know. Yeah, not perfect, but not terrible. We will EQ match to the NT1. So now if we listen, this is the Rode NT1 right here that I'm speaking into currently, and this over here is the SL84C, and the goal now is to flip the phase on them and we'll see, do they get close to nulling out? And you know what, they don't get 100%, but so yeah, here is the Rode NT1 and here is the SL84C. If I turn all of this stuff off, the SL84C goes from this to sounding like this, and it is definitely noticeably not as good as the NT1. However, it is still an interesting experiment. So yeah, there's that.